opening the door to the building of the third Jewish temple. Some called it a kiss from heaven.
Something big is happening in Jerusalem. The third temple is finally being built. But there's a twist. As the walls rise, a strange mystery is unfolding, one that's capturing global attention. Why is this ancient project suddenly causing ripples around the world? What's hidden in its shadows? Let's dive straight into this mystery and find out what's really going on with the Third Temple. The historical and spiritual significance of the Third Temple. The story of the Third Temple begins in the era of Solomon's Temple. Built around 957 BCE, Solomon's Temple wasn't just a structure of stone and wood, it was a masterpiece of spiritual significance. This temple stood as a symbol of divine presence, a sacred meeting point between God and his people. But in 586 BCE, the Babylonians shattered this symbol, tearing down the temple and leaving behind a deep wound in the hearts of the Jewish people. Fast forward to the Second Temple, a symbol of Jewish resilience. Rising from the ashes of the first, it stood tall and grand, a beacon of hope. Yet in AD 70, the Romans dealt a crushing blow. They demolished the Second Temple, plunging the Jewish community into profound sorrow. This wasn't just the loss of a building, it was as if a part of their soul had been ripped away. For Jews, the temple has always been more than just bricks and mortar. It's where heaven and earth were believed to meet, a sacred space connecting the divine and the earthly. In the Jewish faith, the temple holds a place of deep significance. It's tied to their identity, their history, and their relationship with God. It's where prayers reached the heavens and divine blessings descended. Now, in the shadow of these ancient ruins, the Third Temple is rising, reigniting a flame of hope and spiritual longing. But this isn't just a reconstruction project. It's a journey into the heart of faith, history, and prophecy. As the walls of the Third Temple ascend, they carry with them centuries of longing, memories of glory, and the deep scars of loss. This temple is more than just a future landmark. It's a bridge to the past and a gateway to a prophecy-filled future. The question is, what mysteries and revelations will this new chapter unveil? Global and interfaith perspectives. The Third Temple isn't just an Israeli story. It's a global phenomenon, touching hearts and sparking debates across continents. From the streets of Jerusalem to the far corners of the world, the temple's reconstruction stirs a mix of anticipation and concern among different faiths. It's not just a Jewish story. Christians and Muslims are watching closely too, each with their own perspectives and historical ties to this sacred site. Now let's turn the spotlight to the Temple Mount itself, a place that's been a hotbed of conflict for centuries. This isn't just another piece of land, it's a mosaic of religious histories and beliefs. For Jews, the Temple Mount is where their two ancient temples once stood, a place deeply rooted in their spiritual narrative. For Muslims, this site is equally sacred, home to the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock, both central to Islamic faith and history. The interplay of Jewish and Muslim claims over the Temple Mount is like a high-stakes chess game, with each move loaded with historical significance and religious fervor. It's a tension that's been simmering for ages, often boiling over into conflict. The Temple Mount has witnessed crusades, wars, and peace talks, each leaving its mark on this sacred ground. As the Third Temple emerges, this project isn't just laying bricks. It's walking a tightrope of interfaith relations. With every development, the world wonders, will this be a bridge of understanding or a spark that ignites age-old conflicts? What will its next chapter be? Archaeological revelations and historical insights. In Jerusalem, archaeologists are uncovering the real story of the Third Temple, one artifact at a time. Take the Pool of Siloam, for instance. Found right in Jerusalem, this isn't just an old pool. It's a major link to the Second Temple period. This is where people from all over came to gather, to pray, to live their lives. It's a direct connection to a time we only read about in history books. These discoveries are like hitting the jackpot for understanding what went on in the temple. We're finding things like coins, pieces of pottery, bits of ancient buildings. They give us a real look into what daily life and religious rituals were like back then. This stuff is solid evidence, not just stories. What's really exciting is how these finds are making ancient stories from the Bible and other texts come alive. It's one thing to read about these places, but it's something else to actually see and touch them. It's like the past reaching out to us. So every time we dig up something new, it's not just another piece of history. It's a piece of the puzzle that's helping us understand what the Third Temple was all about. It's not just about the building itself, but about the people and the faith that surrounded it. With each discovery, we're not just learning about history, we're connecting with it. The spiritual and messianic expectations. In the heart of Jewish spirituality, the Third Temple is much more than a physical structure. It's a profound symbol of divine connection and spiritual rebirth. For centuries, this anticipated temple has been a cornerstone of Jewish teachings, interlinked with the very essence of their faith and hope. The Third Temple carries an extraordinary weight in Jewish spirituality. It's seen as the ultimate symbol of the Jewish people reuniting with their divine heritage. This isn't just about rebuilding walls and roofs. It's about restoring a spiritual bond that dates back millennia. For Jews, the temple's presence signifies God's tangible presence among them, a beacon of divine light in a world often clouded by uncertainty. But there's another layer to this story, the messianic expectations. In Jewish teachings, the construction of the Third Temple is closely linked with the arrival of the Messiah. It's a pivotal event, one that's believed to usher in an era of peace and divine presence. This belief isn't just a small footnote in their faith, it's a major chapter that's been anticipated with bated breath for generations. For Jews across the world, the Third Temple is a promise, a hope of something greater to come. It's like the light at the end of a long, winding tunnel. The idea that they could witness the fulfillment of this ancient prophecy in their lifetime is a source of immense spiritual excitement and anticipation. But with this excitement comes a deep sense of responsibility and reverence. Building the Third Temple isn't just a construction project. It's a sacred undertaking, a step towards fulfilling a divine promise. It's a journey that requires not just physical resources, but a deep spiritual commitment. As the Third Temple takes shape, it's not just the bricks and mortar that matter. It's the heart and soul poured into every corner of it, the prayers and hopes that resonate with each stone laid. It's a story of resilience, hope, and the unyielding spirit of a people yearning for their spiritual home. The question on everyone's mind is, how will this ancient prophecy unfold in our modern world? Contemporary challenges and revelations. Building the Third Temple isn't just a matter of construction, it's a venture loaded with geopolitical and religious complexities. This isn't just another building project, it's happening in one of the most politically sensitive spots on Earth. The Temple Mount, a site revered by Jews, Christians, and Muslims, sits at the heart of long-standing and often bitter disputes. It's like setting up a construction site in the middle of a powder keg. For Jews, building the Third Temple is a fulfillment of prophecy, a sacred goal that's been waiting for centuries. But for the Muslim community, any changes to the Temple Mount, where the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock stand, are deeply contentious. It's not just about land or buildings, it's about identity, history, and faith. Balancing these religious aspirations with the region's socio-political reality is a high-wire act without a safety net. Every move in this project is scrutinized, every decision loaded with potential consequences. It's not just about what's happening on the ground, it's about how every action is perceived by different communities, both locally and globally. In the quest to build the third temple, navigating these tensions is as crucial as laying the foundation stones. And then there's the shadow of something else, something not quite defined but just as real, a sense of foreboding that hangs over the project. There's an undercurrent of unease, a feeling that with each step forward, we might also be stepping into unknown, potentially perilous territory. It's a project shrouded in mystery, not just about the past, but about what it might mean for the future. In this charged atmosphere, every development related to the Third Temple becomes a headline, every rumor a source of speculation. The construction is more than a physical process. It's a journey through a landscape of historical grievances, religious passions, and political rivalries. It's a story that's as much about the bricks and mortar of the temple as it is about the hearts and minds of the people watching it rise. As the Third Temple slowly takes shape, it's not just changing the skyline of Jerusalem, it's altering the religious and political landscape of the region. It's a venture where history, faith, and politics intersect, creating a narrative that's as complex as it is compelling. In this story, every chapter is unpredictable, every twist and turn a step into uncharted territory. Amidst the tension and anticipation, the question on everyone's mind is, what will the completion of the Third Temple bring? Peace, conflict, fulfillment of prophecy? And what future awaits at the crossroads of the past and prophecy? Only time will tell.